Rappers beefing is a staple of the hip-hop scene, with diss tracks serving as the primary battleground. However, sometimes the rivalry escalates beyond the music, leading to tragic outcomes. Here are 5 instances where rappers were murdered over diss tracks. Number 5. G-Money. On the chilly night of September 10, 2017, down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, real G-Money found himself in the crosshairs right outside his studio on Dallas Drive. Word on the street? His childhood homie, NBA Youngboy, might have had a hand in the call. But what's the real scoop behind Youngboy wanting G-Money in the dirt? This ain't no new drama. It's the same old song in the rap game. Homies turn foes, and the cycle doesn't stop. Baton Rouge ain't for the faint-hearted. Streets there bleed with gang colors, and daily life's a dice roll. It's real out there, a bona fide battleground where slipping ain't an option. For G-Money, born Garrett Burton, he was more than just a rapper. He was a street mentor, especially to NBA Youngboy before the fame hit. G was the big bro, schooling Youngboy on the do's and don'ts of street survival. But things went south fast when G-Money got tangled up with Youngboy's sister, Talee Galden. G didn't mince words about it, even boasted a bit, claiming it wasn't a big deal at the time. But simmering beneath, it brewed into a major beef that split them for good. As time rolled on, both rappers rocked the mic under the banner of TBG, short for Top Boy Gorilla. Yet it wasn't long before Youngboy broke off, carving his own path with the label NBA, never broke again. As Baton Rouge's rap scene glowed up, spotlighting names like NBA Youngboy and Boozy, the rift deepened. By August 2017, G-Money spilled all in a Say Cheese TV interview, dropping the bomb that he and Youngboy were done musically, fueled by that lingering drama over his sister. The final nail, G-Money's diss track Industry, where he laid into Youngboy and his sister with the lines that cut deep, sparking a wildfire on socials. The NBA versus TBG feud turned red hot, and within a month, G-Money was gone, just like that. The streets were quick to point fingers at Youngboy's post-G's downfall, especially after Youngboy's squad was tied to a shootout in Miami. But was Youngboy the trigger man? Cops didn't buy it. Instead, they zeroed in on Lil Pap, a known NBA associate. Under heat, Lil Pap spilled enough to get tangled in the web, his phone pinging in Baton Rouge when he claimed he was elsewhere, and shell casings linking back to him. He ended up copping a plea deal for a lesser charge, dodging a murder rap, but still catching a bid for being in the mix the night G-Money was dropped. As for NBA Youngboy, he's still grinding, tangled in his own battles, legal and beyond. Number 4. FBG Duck. FBG Duck, rolling deep on the Chi-Town streets, dropped Dead Bitches on July 10, 2020, a diss track that had the whole hood talking. This track wasn't just bars, it was a blatant shout-out to the fallen rivals of his gang, stirring up the South Side like never before. Just 3 weeks later, Duck was gone, shot down in broad daylight. While folks chattered that Dead Bitches was the trigger, the real dirt Duck was mixed up in ran much deeper. Carlton D. Weekly, known on the streets as FBG Duck, came up in a family where street life wasn't just an option, it was inheritance. Born and raised in the heart of Chicago's gangland, with 7 siblings to his name, Duck saw his older brother Brick get taken out by gang fire. Duck, no stranger to the streets, still tried to steer clear of the beef, yet fate had other plans, pulling him into the vortex of gang rivalries that defined Chicago's South Side. FBG Duck wasn't just any gang member, he was STL through and through, throwing down with O-Block goons even in his teens. Around 2009, Duck bonded with Tuka, another street soldier. Their brotherhood was short-lived as Tuka was soon gunned down, escalating the turf wars with TYMB and O-Block. Duck's connection with King Von, a double agent from O-Block, only fueled the fire. After discovering Von's betrayal, Duck and his crew dealt with him harshly, setting off a chain of vendettas. Amidst the chaos, Duck found his voice in rap, clashing lyrically with icons like Chief Keef and the OTF crew. His tracks were not just songs, they were battle cries, echoing the strife of street warfare. His 2017 banger Slide not only rocked the charts, but also marked a brief moment where Duck tried to bridge gaps with his enemies, a move that fell flat as rivals like Dirk and Von kept the disses coming. Dead Bitches was Duck's ultimate play, a track that crossed the line by mocking the deceased of the Black Disciples. This wasn't just music, it was a declaration of war. The lyrics were a call-out, stirring up so much heat that the Black Disciples slapped a hefty bounty on Duck's head. Knowing the stakes, Duck still stepped up, speaking out against gang violence, even pleading for a ceasefire when kids were around, a desperate move from a father fearing for his own. Yet his pleas fell on deaf ears. On August 4th, 2020, the streets claimed him. Ambushed while shopping, Duck was blasted 38 times, left to bleed out on the pavement. The cops too slow to react, a life slipping away as paramedics scrambled too late. In the aftermath, as Duck lay cold, rival versus flew, mocking his fall. 600 Breezy's "Stop Playing" was a brutal reply, celebrating Duck's demise. The cycle of vengeance spiraled on, claiming more lives, including Duck's friend BCR Measle. With 6 gang members now facing life behind bars for Duck's murder, the saga leaves a bitter taste. A story of talent and potential swallowed by the relentless grind of street vendettas. Number 3. OG Manman. Moving on with OG Manman. This guy unleashed what's arguably the most hellish diss track ever, coupled with a wild music video to match. The track, dubbed Truth, wasn't just firing shots at his rivals, it was like signing his own death warrant, leading straight to his demise. OG Manman ruled supreme in the DMV zone, an area notorious for some of the coldest street soldiers running the game 24/7. From seasoned OGs to fresh-faced kids barely hitting their teens. The streets were a battlefield, and foes got taken down daily. Yet OG Manman was always on the front line, boosting his rep. More than just surviving the streets, he embodied them. Stationed on the block with his crew day or night, he wasn't one to tolerate any disrespect. In fact, he thrived on the chaos, embracing it fully. But in the streets, slipping on your watch means catching a bullet, and crossing a true OG better stick to your guns. This time around, OG Manman crossed paths with an old buddy turned rival, Big Flock, setting off his own downfall. Enter Big Flock, aka Charles Ulysses Bowman, a Maryland MC just as fierce as his one-time friend. Raised between Maxwell Drive and Morrison Avenue, Big Flock had to navigate with his dad locked up, relying on his grandparents. After his granddad's death, his world darkened, with the streets schooling him in the harsh realities of hustle. With no more tears left, he channeled his grief into grinding. Finding solace in rap as young as 11, Flock scribbled rhymes and later hit the radio, realizing music might just be his ticket out of the hood. Back then, he was rolling with the Thrax crew, dropping tracks like LG Gotti, until the group split, pushing him to go solo. So where does OG Manman fit into Big Flock's rise and fall? Hold tight, because it's all coming together. In the dawn of his career, Big Flock was tight with C. Diddy, his go-to during rough patches, even recording his debut mixtape, Trilluminati, in C. Diddy's living room. They were brothers in arms until tragedy struck. C. Diddy met his end in a murky accident. Though police chalked it up to a drunken fall off a bridge, the streets whispered different tales, especially since OG Manman, known as a fearless enforcer, was still cool with Big Flock. The duo was inseparable, dealing with jail time, hard flows, and street creds together. But it crumbled over, predictably, a girl. Yeah, the old tale, guys flipping over a lady, when they should have bounced to the next one quicker than a new drop on the charts. This time, Manman crossed the line, sneaking around with Big Flock's girl. Flock, feeling betrayed, aired out his grievances in a raw track off his debut album, Glockism. In intro, he blasted, "A man turned informant, thought that he was real, put on a show." He basically branded OG Manman as a snitch. That label, especially as Manman was locked up when the track hit, put a target on his back inside and outside the pen. Once out, OG Manman retaliated with one of the vilest diss tracks out there. The track and its video were so vicious that even DJ academics called them satanic. Titled Truth, the video featured Manman in a mask, brandishing weapons at the grave of Big Flock's deceased friend C. Diddy. The lyrics were brutal, tossing insults over the grave, escalating their feud to deadly heights. The track exploded online, and Manman even toyed with the idea of a full rap career pivot. But fate had other plans. On June 12, 2016, Manman showed up at a cookout in Southeast DC, only to be met with gunfire upon arrival. All signs pointed to Big Flock orchestrating the hit. The subsequent police raid on Flock's place turned up an arsenal and drugs galore. Although they couldn't pin Manman's murder on him, he snagged a 45-month sentence for the weapons and drugs. And as far as the lady at the heart of their beef, she was long gone. On to the next chapter. Number 2. Lil JoJo. September 4th, 2012. Chirac's streets claimed another young soul. Lil JoJo got blasted in a ruthless drive-by, caught up in a deadly beef that he should have steered clear of from the jump. The drama kicked off back in January 4th, 2012, when some video hit the net on WorldStar, featuring a little 6-year-old losing his mind because Chief Keef had just sprung from the pen. This clip went viral quick, sparking mad curiosity about Keef, a 16-year-old Chirac spitter repping with the Black Disciples hard. Chief Keef, real name Keith Cozart, Wasn't out long before he caught a charge for packing heat, but dodged serious time. Once home, Keef was all grind, dropping tracks straight from his grandma's place where he was holed up on house arrest. His track 300, a nod to his BD affiliations, had the internet buzzing, but it was I Don't Like that really blew up, racking over 16 million hits on YouTube, even catching a remix boost from Kanye, propelling Keef to a whole other level. Despite all the street heat in his bars, Keef snagged a $3 million deal with Interscope, plus a movie gig on the side. Meanwhile, just blocks away, Lil JoJo, rolling with his 069 Brick Squad and the Gangster Disciples, was itching to carve out his own rep. He fired up a fierce rap feud with Keef, dropping diss tracks like 300, the K standing loud for Killer. In the vid, Jello and his squad flexed serious firepower, straight threatening Keef and his crew. The beef escalated when JoJo's bro, Cash Out, dialed Keef's mom, broadcasting her shook voice for all to hear. On September 4th at 4:04 p.m., Jolo drops another video, this time deep in Keef's territory, trash-talking Keef's right hand, Lil Reese. The air was thick with threats, not just lyrics, but real deadly promises. By nightfall, JoJo tweets he's on 69th Street, ready to face off. But minutes later, as he's pedaling a friend's bike, a tan Ford Taurus rolls by, unleashing a barrage of gunfire, dropping JoJo to the asphalt. Keef's reaction? Cold. He hit Twitter to mock JoJo's death, sparking a firestorm online. The streets and the net erupted in outrage, even sparking rumors of Interscope cutting ties. Keef backpedaled, claiming his account got hacked, but nobody was buying that. To this day, JoJo's shooter remains in the shadows, and the case is cold. 12 years on, Lil JoJo's legacy endures, immortalized by the Gangster Disciples worldwide and all who vibe to his beats. Number 1. Tupac Shakur. Before y'all start wildin' with claims that Tupac wasn't dropped because of some diss track heat, let me break it down for you real quick. For those true hip-hop heads, y'all remember that fire track, Hit 'Em Up, by Tupac? That joint wasn't just another track. It was a legendary diss that put Biggie, Puffy, and the whole Bad Boy crew on blast, and yeah, it was cold. Lyrics like, first off, F your biatch and the clique you claim, were more than just words. They were war calls, man. This wasn't just some studio beef, it was real street heat, turning the track into an anthem for West Coast supremacy. Now check it, Hit 'Em Up wasn't just a banger. It was a straight-up death warrant, sealed and delivered in Tupac's own flow, just months before he got gunned down. Why do heads think this track was the reason Tupac got silenced? Peep this. When you throw a shade at a lineup of East Coast legends, you're asking for trouble heavy. Plus, that same night, Tupac scraped in a Vegas parking lot. Hours later, his lights were out. That scrap? It was with Orlando Anderson, a known Crip, while Tupac rolled with Suge Knight, a Blood. This wasn't just a label drama, this was gangland script. Fast forward to the doc, American Dream, American Nightmare, where Suge drops that Pac was nearly a Blood himself. Imagine that. Tupac wasn't just rapping gangsta, he was living it, deep. And in the street code, living that life means you might just die by it. Remember, Tupac had already survived getting shot in '94 at Quad Studios, thinking Biggie set him up. That sparked the whole East-West showdown, with Hit 'Em Up as its soundtrack. Some say Suge had Tupac taken out over label beef, which don't add up since Suge was right there in the ride when shots fired. That's not how you plan a hit, unless you're down to catch a bullet yourself. Tupac's murder remains one of those untold street tales, with theories flying every which way. But if we're keeping it a buck, if Tupac really was a Blood, caught up in all that gang mess, his ending was written long before any diss track. We're just keeping it real here. While his legacy is untouchable, the streets don't play favorites, and Tupac knew the game better than anyone.